hope you all are doing well, and hope you are doing great. This morning, it's Christmas season, and we're all seeing the cloud and everything. Hope you're coping well. I am Tulupe Akinyemi. Thank you so very much for joining us this morning on AM Cafe. Okay, so of course I'm not here alone. I'm here with beautiful and wonderful guests with us. Well, we'll be talking about gender-based violence against women. Before I proceed, I'd like to welcome my special guest this morning, Miss Engineer Mrs. Lara Odeyemi. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. So today we're talking about gender-based violence against women. You know, there is a statistic that says that out of 5 women between the age of 15 above has been verbally or physically abused, and most of these abused are basically from their intimate partners or husband to be. So we're going to be discussing about this basically today. So ma'am, about the gender-based violence against women generally, what's your take on it? And let me say, what's the cause of this particular scenario?
We can attribute gender-based violence to so many factors.
Okay.
You know, from cultural angle. You know, in some settings, this gender inequality seems to be bringing this gender-based violence, whereby men feel they are superior to their female counterparts. So because of that, they feel the female gender should obey them, must obey them. They feel they should not have their own voice. So any contrary opinion to their own insertion bring violence. Yes.
From the cultural angle?
Yes, from the cultural angle.
Okay.
Then even religiously too. Our religions too, the 3 religions, the Islamic, the Christian, and even the traditional religion, they believe that men are superior to women. Because of this, it makes men at times to show their domineering traits over women, thereby violating their rights, abusing them, leading to domestic violence, and then socio-economic factor. Unemployment rate, you know, is very high because of a poor economic condition.
Absolutely.
So some males, they take it out. They point the aggression
on their women.
Yes, on their women. They point on their women. They don't see their failure as a personalized issue. They see it at times as probably stemming coming from female that is beside them. So they point on the hand. Then at times, historical background. Men that grew up from probably broken home, that have experienced one form of violence or the other. Such adults may grow up, I use the word may, not all of them, may also grow up to be maltreating every female beside him, the spouse or the partner.
Talking about the cultural aspect, because you made mention of some valid points as to the reason why men are being violated and abused. Ma'am, I would like to just pick that one after the other.
All right.
So from the first aspect, the culture, do you think the culture, our culture, the Western culture, is being fair to women? Because having to dominate a woman, is it domineering or lording over a woman self? It's so extreme, because looking at the genetic and biological makeup of women, we go through a lot. You know, like looking from the menstrual cycle, pain, then childbirth, the mood swing and everything. Do you think culture is being fair to women? And if it's not fair to women, what is being done presently regarding that now?
There are so many things that are not fair. At times life itself is not fair. Let's face the reality. Yes. It's not every time we sit down and we're thankful. There are many times we sit down, we think deeply, we ruminate over some things. And so, let me go to your question now.
Yes.
You said, is culture fair? No, right from time immemorial. Culture has been biased to the female gender. Right from time immemorial, right from the time of our forefathers. You see our mothers, then they engage in multiple, but it's even a bit easier now for us. You see them, they do the family, they do the childbearing, they do the cleaning, they do the cooking, they do practically everything then. And when it is night, they have no right. I repeat, they have no right to say no to refuse their husband. That area, that is where sexual violence comes in. Because sexual violence is one of the violence, yes, against the female gender. Why will you just force somebody to have sex?
You know,
the person is not interested.
There are some men that believes that since they paid the dowry, they have
that they
authority. Exactly, they hold you. They paid your dowry in full. I paid your dowry in full, so you have to subject. You have to do everything I want, and every time I demand it.
Part of why I said culture is not fair to the female gender. Why would that's where inequality comes in? Where men feel they are much more better always than female. How? Nowadays we have female lawyers, female doctors, female engineers. There is hardly no field. There is no field. You cannot find females. So what makes them feel that no? But it is not all men. Some men are good. Some are compassionate. Some are considerate. Some are good. It's just that I can see selected few that are animalistic in their behavior. That have a behavioral deficiency. Just very few of them. So that you pay right price does not indicate that you have to load so many things over your woman. No, it's not. It is not. That is why we advocate that females should know your rights. If it is necessary, speak out. Say something, speak out. Don't just stay under duress, speak out. So you cannot force simply because someone gave birth to her. Someone trained her, maybe in formal or informal education. They trained her. Not for you to now just come. If simply because you now married her, you now feel that whatever you say is the law. No, it is not. And you know there are laws against gender violence. It's only that men, they don't know. There are laws, but most of the time, because of interpersonal relationship, if my husband violates me now, this is Africa, and we feel it is not right to take him to court. Even people will say, wow, how could he do this? How could she do this? You understand? That is why they do it and they get away with it. But there are laws against it. Therefore, it is not good to feel that because you pay bride price, you own her life, and you can do as you like.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was wonderful. That's wonderful. Then that moving me to the next questions. You know, talking about interpersonal relationship that you just mentioned, and you see, just most women are the ones that are sabotaging themselves. They are the ones that, you know, there's some people like I don't know how to put this, but I feel like women are the one even kind of doing this evil to themselves, accepting to be maltreated in some kind of way, to be violated in every way. Why? Because of interpersonal relationship. And there are some families or cultures that since they were like abusing women as a norm. They see it as a normal thing, and when you try to tell them to speak up, they just shun you out of it and say, no, it's a family matter, it's a personal matter, we'll handle it ourselves, until the point of death. They keep handling it with themselves. Well, because we're talking about men, that men should stop lording over women, abusing powers and all that over them. We also don't you think we also need to talk to women that are yet to accept this change, that it's not normal for a man to abuse you? There are some women that even believes that if my man is not abusing me, either verbally or physically, that means there's something happening. There's something wrong somewhere. Do you understand? Like, some people feel their husband did not love them if he did not physically abuse them. That's traumatic, ma. What do you have to say about that?
First, feeling that they don't want to, some women, they don't want to live abusive relationships. Most of the time, it comes from a religious angle. Yes.
Thank you.
Some religion, they tell you that marriage is till death do you apart. That's what they said. Let me come out straight. The Christian religion will tell you that it is till death do you apart. Number one. So, when you now get there, and you find the place so hot, you find the place practically inhabitable. But when you now look back, your father is a pastor, your father is a deacon, is an elder, your mother is a deaconess, you also, you are a chorister, you are this in church, you just feel like, how can there is nothing I can do. People must not hear. I have to keep praying. So people like that, they refuse to speak out. Eventually, when people are around them, when they are able to see that something is wrong and they talk to them, they will tell you that they will keep praying until things get better. But most of the time, it doesn't get better. It moves from bad to worse, and eventually from worse to worst. And that is why you see them, they meet untimely deaths. So, mostly from the religious angle, and then family background. Any from a very poor background, they're married into averagely rich family. That feels that all our life dreams, comforts, and everything are there. No matter the amount of violence, abuse, be it physical assault, physical violence, sexual violence, verbal hate speech, she may not want to leave those comforts. So at times, family background. If you're from home too, that are good, you can as well leave. Leave to tell the story. Leave to continue your life. But at times, family background in that day, from stepping out of that abusive marriage. So at times too, parental background again. Some parents, they will tell you that as you are going now, you cannot come back. When those women, when they now get there, and the place becomes so corrosive, so hot, the relationship becomes unbearable. They will keep remembering, they complain to their parents, don't let me hear that. During our own time, even your father, he used to do this and this, and the idea is so continue bearing it. So at times, parental background too, then poverty. Poverty. When you just feel your man have everything that you ever want. It's the one empowering you financially, everything. Living becomes
so difficult.
So difficult. Or at times become physically or becomes generally unthinkable. Because you feel that if I live, how will I survive financially? Where will I get money? How will I sustain this kind of lifestyle I'm living? So therefore, they keep trying as much as possible to showcase what does not exist to the outside world. You see them on their social media page displaying love for crying inside. So
thank you so much, ma. That is wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, talking from different aspects. When you started from the aspect of religion, I was like, oh my God, that's so good. That's because the aspect of religion reminds me of the case of Osinachi, the gospel singer that died.
I just restrained myself, from
talking about that,
from mentioning our name. I don't want to. We should really, in Africa, we respect the dead. We don't talk bad about the dead. But we need to speak. We need to talk so that people that are going through the same thing,
they can come out,
so that they can. That your pastor's wife doesn't mean you cannot divorce pastor. You can live.
Yes.
You have your life. That you are deacon's wife, that you are elder's wife, that you are married to Pastor Mrs. That you are married to Lady Evangelist. Men too. It's not only females.
Yes, ma'am.
They do abuse men too.
That one is quite
yes.
scarce.
No, it's not scarce. Let me explain to you. Yes.
Okay.
Females too. We have our own. Let me tell you the truth. We have our own. By the time you come back from work, and you just tell your husband, and look at you, and you're sitting down like a dummy. Our own is verbal violence.
Yes.
Some women, they can abuse their husband for 3 hours non-stop. They will tell him the family history. How his mother failed his father, they will tell him. How they sacked him from office, they will tell him. How he has always been a failure, they will tell him. So our own is verbal. Let me tell you, men too. Men are passing through a lot. It's just that in our own case, we cry out, we show it physically, we demonstrate, but their own is mostly psychological. Psychological violence. Most of the time they pass through psychological violence, emotional violence. Men, when they are burning inside, when they are turning to pieces inside, when they are crying deeply inside, but outside we still see them, they'll be smiling. Me too, they pass through a lot of violence. It's not only, it's just that in our own case, most of the time our own is outward. If they slap you now, the bruise will be there, the bone will be there, the mark will be there. But when you verbally attack somebody, that person will sit. That person will be burning, will be tearing to pieces inside. But outside, men, they pass through. That's why you see most of the time they just say, Mr. So just died yesterday. Say, but I saw him now. You saw him. But it's just like a walking corpse. Someone that is dead inside because of hate speech, because of verbal violence, because of psychological trouble, because of emotional trauma. So men too, just that their own is not well pronounced. Yes. So
Thank you for the balance, because I was about to say that women also, I was about to go to the aspect of women, talking to women. Now, thank you so much for diverting to that and just setting the standard. God bless you, ma'am. Now, moving to the aspect of women sabotaging women in workplace, industries, political aspects, and every aspect of life. You see women they beef themselves. You see, we beef ourselves, even sabotaging ourselves in place of work, not wanting women that is also your same gender to actually attain a particular position. What do you have to say about that, ma'am?
At times, many people do not realize that for a woman to attain certain heights, it is true determination. We have so many factors that used to limit against us growing. So for you to attain certain stage, they don't know that it is true dedication. It is true when you stay focused. So when they see you that you are in certain position, they'll come up with so many theories. Most of the time, they accuse their fellow female of sleeping her way through to the top. At times, they accuse them. They look down on them. They backbite. They gossip about them. But most of the time, people that does that, they are always below the person they are trying
To sabotage.
yes, to sabotage. And then let's face the reality. Women that suffer, that are paid her dues before attaining certain stage. You cannot just talk them down or bring them down. Women are good fighter. Yeah, women are good fighter. So even from their female, they know what is going on. But most of the time, they choose not to bother. Yes. You are talking about somebody and the person is coming, I'm coming. I just bid you hi, good morning. Inside me, I say, that is your cup of tea. I don't have time for that. What I want to do is without face. So most of the time, it's due to envy. Envy. Let's not say they wish to be like that person. They wish, but once you wish to be like another person, you are a failure. Because every individual is a unique person. No two person on the surface of this earth are the same. That is why our fingerprint, because your fingerprint can never be the same as mine. So once you just feel that, I wish I could be her, I could be. That's a petty jealousy is coming, is brewing. And then they move from there to what is all this? Why is she making face as you look at the way she's even giving me all that, as if she's the only person around this place. Now, it's now moving from petty jealous gradually to destructive jealousy. You understand? And before you know it, it turns to hatred. Then they start to see them hating on the person. Say, what is it? Reminder, she's the only person. And this is common, not only in workplace, even place of worship. Yes.
Churches.
Yes. And mosque too. Yes, it's very common. Women that are mostly leaders, even those that come very early to clean, to do everything. If you that you come very late and your children want to say, no, tell your children and say, what is it? Is she the only person that will be cleaning the place that is not complaining that we should know? In the first instance, why would you allow your children to get you such an environment? So it is not only in workplace, it is even among neighbors. Among neighbors. You don't know, maybe somebody is trying to plot his or her graph. After the plotting and the person now becomes somebody in life, why would you now come up with hatred, with jealous? The time that person was busy plotting his or her graph, you were looking at the person as nothing. What is she doing? What is he doing? That's my neighbor. But by the time the person now finished plotting and just put it up straight, everybody will now be saying, that's when all this petty jealousy moving to destructive criticism and later hatred. That's why it comes in. But most of the time, do we really need to bother? No, we don't need to bother. That's their own area of calling. Let them deal with it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was wonderful. Now to the last question, because we have much of a time this morning, talking to the society at large, ma'am. You see, there is a way society perceives women, and there is a way society actually puts women in their position. They will say that women are not supposed to do this, women are not supposed to do that. And when women take up a task to actually say, okay, I want to do this, they now bring up some standards and criteria. You have to be happily married, you have to be this, you have to be that before you can attain a particular position. Whereas that standard is not the same for men. For example, if women want to attain a particular political position, she has to be happily married. They have to see her as a good role model and mother to the nations, so to say. But when it comes to men, that is not much pronounced to them as it is. And I feel like whatever standard that is raised for a particular position should be equal. It shouldn't be biased. What do you have to say about that, ma'am?
Well, I won't take much of our time. It's cut across all sectors. Women have been marginalized. Take that. I'm going to use a political post as example. During campaign, you will see women singing, clapping, moving from one place to another.
Yes.
The campaign ground are always been dominated by women. If you want to check the percentage, it will be like 80% of those at the campaign ground will be women. Okay, after winning the election, when it is time to share posts, Commissioner for Women Affairs, one. They will even put it women, children, and social. They will put the three together for them, one. They will try to look for one more. Out of maybe 17 or 18, they will give women maybe 2 or 3 maximum. Women that are the one that will lead the campaign, that will travel with you. From here, if they want to go and campaign in Abuja, all of them will follow them. But when it is time for post sharing, they will give women 3. What stop them from making it even 60-40? What stop them from making it 10 men and then 4 ladies? That is when they bring what you just said, that she's not responsible. She sleeps around. The time she was working for the party,
They didn't see that.
the time she was campaigning, moving from one city to another, they don't remember that. When it is time to honor her, they bring up all sort of frivolities. It still goes on the same thing that women have always been at a disadvantaged position right from time immemorial. Yes, whatever we want, most of the time we fight our way through it. We fight our way through it. Yes, even in offices, when they lead an organization, you see men under them, they feel threatened. They feel that I could just come up with all this. If it were to be their male counterparts occupying that seat, they won't be they won't feel somehow. Or simply that she is a figure. That's what we now make them to look down. That's why we are advocating for gender equality. Because they feel that men in all ways are superior to women. I'm a typical African woman. I don't disregard men. I give them their due respect. But at the same time, I don't see myself playing second fiddle to any man. Yes. No? I don't. In my 26 years of being married, I am respectful to my husband. But when there are times for me to stand and stamp my feet, I do so. Yes. So, in any way, under any circumstances, I don't see myself as being inferior to any man. So we should try as much as possible to tell our female children, let them know right from their childhood that you are not inferior to any man, that you are equal, even at home. Sometimes when they want to say, your brother is a boy, so don't let's do that. You know our mother, they used to do that very well. So that inferiority complex. They are trying to build it from us, right from our childhood.
Absolutely.
Yes, but no, we should not do that. I see myself as a complete human being. Yes, but I still give respect to the male gender.
You did justice to that question. Thank you so very much. Thank you. That was powerful. That's enlightening. Thank you so much for that. So we've learned today that religion shouldn't stop you from staying, should not stop you from staying in marriage that is actually like being abusive both verbally and physically. We talked about society encouraging women to take up the task or take up to be responsible and not to be inferior by anybody or to anybody. Thank you so very much for joining us today. I'm Tula Kiemi once again. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.